Seeking excitement, we find ourselves in the capital of Skyrim, Solitude, and pay an eager visit to the first tavern we see. How's it going, Maine?
Welcome to the Winking Skeever, friend.
Winking Skeever.
Well, as it turns out, I had a pet skeever when I was a boy, and he used to wink.
You had a giant rat as a pet.
They were smaller back then.
Right. Any trouble in the big city?
Traitors, civil wars, dragons. Huh. Those troubles don't cross my doorway.
Sounds pleasant. Thing is, though, I'm looking for work, and I don't exactly deal in pleasant. We get up to leave, but are surprised when the barkeep shadily takes a seat next to us and says,
If you need a good rumor or two, I think I can oblige.
Oh yeah? What can you tell me?
Varnius Junius stopped by here on his way to court. He was worried about something. I'm sure Falk Firebeard could tell you what.
That seems unremarkable.
Remember the Winking Skeever next time you're footsore.
We leave the company of the bizarre innkeeper to go test our luck with the tavern's resident bard.
There's nothing like a good song to lift the spirit in troubled times.
Any job leads for a traveler?
Generally, if you want rumors, you should talk to Corpulus. That said, I did see a visitor pass through on his way to the Blue Palace.
Is that really news in this city? I guess that's the best we'll find.
You should think about staying the night. Corpulus keeps a clean inn.
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. We then take a leisurely stroll through the sunny streets of Solitude, much more hospitable than that of our recent visit to Windhelm. Eventually, we find our way to the marvelous Blue Palace, where we seek out this traveler that is apparently the talk of the town. We enter the court and listen to the man speak.
I swear to you, unnatural magics are coming from that cave. There are strange noises and lights. We need someone to investigate.
Then we will immediately send out a legion to scour the cave and secure the town. Hafingar's people will always be safe under my rule.
Your Eminence, my scrying has suggested nothing in the area. Dragonbridge is under Imperial control. This is likely superstitious nonsense.
Perhaps a more tempered reaction might be called for?
Oh, yes, of course, you were right. Falk, tell Captain Aldous I said to assign a few extra soldiers to Dragonbridge.
Thank you, Jarl Elisif. But about the cave?
I will have someone take care of the cave as well, Varnius. You can rest easy. You're dismissed.
We approach him after, but he says,
I've got what I came for. I better get back to Dragonbridge.
So you aren't worried about the cave then?
I've done my part. Dragonbridge will have extra guards. Falk Firebeard will find a way to take care of the cave.
We approach the steward, Falk Firebeard.
Yes?
I heard you were looking for help with a certain cave.
You mean the Dragonbridge issue? I'll be honest with you. I was planning to let that go. Varnius is a bit jumpy at the best of times. There have been reports of weird happenings near Wolfskull Cave. Travelers disappearing, odd lights. I suspect wild animals, or perhaps bandits. I don't think it's worth our time with the war going on. But if you want to clear out the cave, I'll make sure you're repaid for your work.
Say, why is it called Wolfskull Cave? Kinda ominous, isn't it?
The cave has a bad history. Long ago, Potema the Wolf Queen used it for necromantic rituals. That's where it got the name. That was over 500 years ago. Nothing much down there now, but everyone's always convinced the cave is haunted.
It couldn't have just been a wolf den, huh?
Feel free to return to me with questions. The Blue Palace is an open forum.
Leaving the capital, we travel into the brisk air of Hafingar. After some time, we find what must be the entrance of Wolfskull Cave and encounter immediate danger. They aren't kidding about the horses of Skyrim being hardy. If skeletons are loitering outside, then what horrors lie deeper within? Strings of bone decorate the walls, and the stench of death suffocates the air. It's not long before we come across an undead Draugr stalking the corridors. In the next room, we find necromancers and their damn frost magic. The sick bastards even willing to reanimate their own. We venture deeper into the cavern, filled with more pesky necromancers and their Draugr thralls. Eventually entering a much larger section and discovering something unexpected.
Wolf Queen, hear our call and awaken. We summon Potema. We summon Potema. Long have you slept the dreamless sleep of death, Potema. No longer. Hear us, Wolf Queen. We summon you. We summon Potema.
Potema. Volk Firebeard mentioned that name. They really are trying to resurrect the Wolf Queen. We continue to slash through mages and undead, making our way to the base of the ritual tower, where we once again hear the incantations of the necromancers.
Yes! Yes! Return me to this realm! As our voices summon you, the blood of the innocent binds. Summon the words bound by blood. What? What are you doing, you fools? You cannot bind me to your wills. Summon the words bound by blood. You ants don't have the power to bind me.
Our presence has certainly not gone unnoticed.
Something is wrong. There is an intruder.
Finally, we reach the top of the tower, the heart of this evil. A trio of necromancers awaits us, and our sword awaits them. Oddly, the sole remaining witch does not break from her stance. As if entranced by the ritual, we turn around and get a glimpse of what captivates her, seeing the spectral form of the Wolf Queen herself. Creepily, the ritual master's eyes watch us, as if paralyzed and forced to await her own death. Happy to oblige, old bitch. With the final necromancer killed, something strange happens. That's probably not good, but our work here is finished, so we make our way out of this damned cave and back to the more welcoming Blue Palace, where our boy, Volk Firebeard, awaits us.
You've returned. Good. What did you find at Wolfskull Cave?
Necromancers. They were attempting to summon and bind Potema.
Potema herself? Please tell me you stopped them.
Yeah, I stopped them. I slew them all and interrupted the ritual, at least.
You've done a larger service to the realm than you could possibly know. A resurrected Potema. I shudder at the thought.
A visibly shaken Firebeard walks away before we can ask any questions about Potema. So with fresh coin in hand, we return to the Winking Skeever.
Come on in. We got warm food, warm drinks, and warm beds.
We'd like to drink and boast, but something doesn't feel quite right. We find the barkeep still seated at the bar and request a room for the evening.
Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room. Right this way. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Later in the night, we find ourselves sitting at the desk, alone, with a bottle of wine and a book plucked from the nearby bookshelf, titled The Biography of the Wolf Queen. We flip through its old pages. Few historical figures are viewed as unambiguously evil, but Potema, the so-called Wolf Queen of Solitude, surely qualifies for that dishonor. Born to the imperial family in the 67th year of the Third Era, Potema was immediately presented to her grandfather, the Emperor Uriel Septim II, a famously kind-hearted man. He viewed the solemn, intense babe and whispered, "She looks like a she-wolf, about ready to pounce." Potema's childhood in the imperial city was certainly difficult from the start. Her father, Prince Pelagius Septim, and her mother, Quasara, showed little affection for their brood. Her eldest brother, Antiochus, 16 at Potema's birth, was already a drunkard and womanizer, infamous in the Empire. Her younger brothers, Sepphoris and Magnus, were born much later, so for years she was the only child in the imperial court. By the age of 14, Potema was a famous beauty with many suitors, but she was married to cement relations with King Mantiarco of the Nordic Kingdom of Solitude. She entered the court, it was said, as a pawn, but she quickly became a queen. The elderly King Mantiarco loved her and allowed her all the powers she wished, which was total. When Uriel Septim II died the following year, her father was made emperor, and he faced a greatly depleted treasury, thanks to his father's poor management. Pelagius II dismissed the Elder Council, forcing them to buy back their positions. In the 97th year of the Third Era, after many miscarriages, the Queen of Solitude gave birth to a son, who she named Uriel after her grandfather. Mantiarco quickly made Uriel his heir, but the queen had much larger ambitions for her child. 2 years later, Pelagius II died, many say poisoned, by a vengeful former council member, and his son, Potema's brother Antiochus, took the throne. At age 48, it could be said that Antiochus's wild seeds had yet to be sown, and the history books are nearly pornographic in their depictions of life at the imperial court during the years of his reign. Potema, whose passion was for power, not fornication, was scandalized every time she visited the imperial city. Mantiarco, King of Solitude, died the springtide after Pelagius II. Uriel ascended to the throne, ruling jointly with his mother. Doubtless, Uriel had the right and would have preferred to rule alone, but Potema convinced him that his position was only temporary. He would have the empire, not merely the kingdom. In Castle Solitude, she entertained dozens of diplomats from other kingdoms of Skyrim, sowing seeds of discontent. Her guest list over the years expanded to include kings and queens of High Rock and Morrowind as well. For 13 years, Antiochus ruled Tamriel and proved an able leader despite his moral laxity. Several historians point to proof that Potema cast the spell that ended her brother's life, but evidence one way or another is lost in the sands of time. In any event, both she and her son Uriel were visiting the imperial court in the year 112 of the Third Era when Antiochus died and immediately challenged the rule of his daughter and heir, Kintira. Potema's speech to the Elder Council is perhaps helpful to students of public speaking. She began with flattery and self-abasement. "My most august and wise friends, members of the Elder Council, I am but a provincial queen, and I can only assume to bring to issue what you yourselves have already pondered." She continued on to praise the late emperor, who was a popular ruler in spite of his flaws. He was a true septum and a great warrior, destroying, with your counsel, the near invincible armada of Piandania. But little time was wasted before she came to her point. The Empress Magna unfortunately did nothing to temper my brother's lustful spirits. In point of fact, no whore in the slums of the city spread out on more beds than she. Had she attended to her duties in the imperial bedchamber more faithfully, we would have a true heir to the empire, not the half-wit, milksop bastards who call themselves the emperor's children. The girl called Kintira is popularly believed to be the daughter of Magna and the captain of the guard. It may be that she is the daughter of Magna and the boy who cleans the cistern. We can never know for certain, not as certainly as we can know the lineage of my son, Uriel, the last of the Septim dynasty. Despite Potema's eloquence, the Elder Council allowed Kintira to assume the throne as the Empress Kintira II. Potema and Uriel angrily returned to Skyrim and began assembling the rebellion. Details of the War of the Red Diamond are included in other histories. We need not recount the Empress Kintira II's capture and eventual execution in High Rock in the year 114 of the Third Era, nor the ascension coronation of Potema's son, Uriel III, 7 years later. Her surviving brothers, Sepphoris and Magnus, fought the Emperor and his mother for years, tearing the empire apart in a civil war. When Uriel III fought his uncle Sepphoris in Hammerfell at the Battle of Ichidag in 127 of the Third Era, Potema was fighting her other brother, Uriel's uncle Magnus, in Skyrim at the Battle of Falkenstar. She received word of her son's defeat and capture just as she was preparing to mount an attack on Magnus's weakest flank. The 61-year-old Wolf Queen flew into a rage and led the assault herself. It was a success, and Magnus and his army fled. In the midst of the victory celebration, Potema heard the news that her son, the Emperor, had been killed by an angry mob before he had even made it for trial in the Imperial City. He had been burned to death within his carriage. When Sepphoris was proclaimed Emperor, Potema's fury was terrible to behold. She summoned Daedra to fight for her, had her necromancers resurrect her fallen enemies as undead warriors, and mounted attack after attack on the forces of Emperor Sepphoris I. Her allies began leaving her as her madness grew, and her only companions were the zombies and skeletons she had amassed over the years. The Kingdom of Solitude became a land of death. Stories of the ancient Wolf Queen being waited on by rotting, skeletal chambermaids and holding war plans with vampiric generals terrified her subjects. Potema died after a month-long siege on her castle in the year 137 of the Third Era, at the age of 90. While she lived, she had been the Wolf Queen of Solitude, daughter of the Emperor Pelagius II, wife of King Mantiarco, aunt of the Empress Kentira II, mother of Emperor Uriel III, and sister of the emperors Antiochus and Sepphoris. 3 years after her death, Antiochus died, and his and Potema's brother Magnus took the throne. Her death has hardly diminished her notoriety, though there is little direct evidence of this. Some theologians maintain that her spirit was so strong that she became a Daedra after her death, inspiring mortals to mad ambition and treason. It is also said that her madness so confused Castle Solitude that it infected the next king to rule there. Ironically, that was her 18-year-old nephew, Pelagius, the son of Magnus. Whatever the truth of the legend, it is undeniable that when Pelagius left Solitude in 145 of the Third Era to assume the title of the Emperor Pelagius III, he quickly became known as Pelagius the Mad. It is even widely rumored that he murdered his father Magnus. The Wolf Queen must surely have had the last laugh. Unnerved, we attempt to get some much-needed rest, but our sleep is interrupted by the haunting visage of Potema. Had we truly stopped the ritual, or had we witnessed her escape? Days later, in an attempt to put this nasty business behind us, we find ourselves in the cozy city of Whiterun. But one evening, a young lad runs up to greet us, the courier.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. Let's see here. It's from Falk Firebeard at the Blue Palace. Ooh, you've got friends in high places. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Warily, we read its contents. Over the last few days, we've had some disturbing information come to light regarding the events at Wolfskull Cave and the summoning and binding ritual you interrupted there. Given your involvement with that event, I'm asking you to return to Solitude to help us once more. I'm wary of putting all the details in print. Please come see me at the Blue Palace. Sincerely, Falk Firebeard. Immediately, we return to the Blue Palace.
The courier must have found you.
Falk, I received your letter about Wolfskull Cave.
Yes, old friend. I'm afraid it's not good news. When you broke up the binding, Potema escaped. We've encountered some of her minions. Steer says she's still in spirit form, or we'd all be dead already. You've already done us a service in stopping the binding, but I need you to go talk to him, to see if Steer can tell us what to do next.
I'm not familiar with a Steer.
He's Solitude's priest of Archay. He's the one who figured out Potema was still around. He'll help as much as he can.
Why involve me again?
I'm not really sure. Steer thinks you have some sort of link to Potema. I trust his judgment on this. As a priest of Archay, he's had to deal with necromancy before. Nothing as dangerous as Potema, though.
I'll talk to Steer then. Hopefully we can figure something out.
I wish you well, friend. Be careful.
Next, we seek out Solitude's Hall of the Dead.
I trust you're not planning any trouble. What can I do for you, friend?
Where we cautiously approach the resident priest.
You must be the one Falk spoke so highly of. Welcome.
Yes, Folk sent me to deal with this Potema problem.
Ah, Potema. Former Queen of Solitude, and one of the most dangerous necromancers in recorded history. She was responsible for the Empire's near collapse almost 500 years ago. I believe I have a book about her.
And now she's raised from the dead.
Summoned in spirit form is not raised from the dead. She'll need help before she can return to the living. For the moment, the Wolf Queen has retreated to a place filled with dead, eager to serve her. She has gone to her old catacombs. A few days ago, one of her servants busted through a wall into the Temple of Divines. We'll need you to go into the catacombs themselves.
Wait, so you expect me to do this all alone?
Yes, I had Falk call you back because you were at the summoning. You have a connection to Potema now. You must deal with her. I can provide you with help for her minions, though. This should help you deal with the catacombs themselves. As to Potema herself, find what's left of her body, likely a skeleton. Remove it from the catacombs and bring it back to be sanctified by Archay.
So is there anything else I should know about Potema?
A curious figure. Unrepentantly evil and nasty, of course, but also astonishingly brilliant, and obviously quite a necromancer at her end. She was always so close to being Empress, but despite her machinations, it was never to be hers. Ironically, if she were alive today, she'd be the only living member of the Septim bloodline. By all rights, she would now be Empress.
Nowadays, the people of the Empire might even welcome that. Say, how long have you tended to the Hall of the Dead?
All my life. I practically grew up in the hall. My father and mother were the priest and priestess of Archay before me, you see. I believe I was put here to protect this place from the darkness that pervades Solitude.
What darkness pervades Solitude?
This city has a long history of madness and murder. The Wolf Queen, Pelagius, the death of High King Toric, and now, public executions. My books tell the stories, have no doubt. As pretty as its streets are, as jovial as the bards may be, darkness is drawn to Solitude. You know what needs to be done. Is there something more you need?
No, that's all.
May the light of truth keep the darkness at bay.
And with that, we make our way to the Temple of the Divines. Stopping momentarily to pray to Stendarr to bless us against the abominations we must face. In the lower level of the temple, we unlock the gate and venture forth into the darkness of the catacombs. Things seem eerily modern, furnished, but abandoned. We soon hear a voice.
You've arrived at last. The hero who prevented me from being bound returns to my fold. I have much to thank you for, little one. When you die, I will raise you, and you can take your place by my side. You'll serve me soon enough.
The Wolf Queen seems to welcome us forward. Our visit does not appear to be unexpected. We must remain cautious as we traverse the many rooms of the catacombs, wondering why such well-built halls were left to ruin. As we traverse deeper, we encounter the first of vampires and raised draugrs.
We may meet again today.
We press on past another gate and deal with what creeps behind the corner. The undead of the catacombs have no doubt been raised and enthralled by the Wolf Queen and her petty followers. These embalmed foes prove little trouble to a seasoned warrior like ourselves.
Here you are.
And neither do their blood-sucking masters. However, we must be mindful of traps. As a spiked door almost slams right in our face. We leave the more modern Solitude interior design and enter what looks more akin to ancient Nordic ruins. And of course, that means puzzles. Many puzzles. And traps.
Bleed for me, mortal.
We keenly make our way to the next corridor.
You've come far, mortal. No doubt you seek to enter Potema's sanctum. I can see to that. We'll need plenty of fresh corpses to rebuild her army, you see.
On the corpse of this vampire fledgling, we take the key to Potema's sanctum, where the Wolf Queen, no doubt, is waiting for us. We venture down further, encountering more blood-starved vampires.
Just fed, but I'm still hungry. Blood. All I can think about these days. Last kill was so... Die!
And more undead. Until we reach a chamber filled with dead bodies.
Not much further. Come with me. Serve me in death.
For a moment, we almost forget ourselves and succumb to the Wolf Queen's call, but snap out of it to deal with the risen undead that surrounds us. There is but one foe that remains.
You've come far, mortal. But can you stand against my inner council? Let's see.
Well, maybe multiple foes. We battle our way through countless members of her inner council, now naught but mindless Draugr, soon to meet death again.
Don't applaud yourself too soon, warrior. Rip the eyes from his head.
Finally, the surge of power that is the spirit of Potema channels into the next chamber, where we follow, and are faced with the Wolf Queen herself. Her spirit reduced to a pile of ectoplasm. We take her skull that sits upon the throne and stuff it into our bag, a skull fitted with the crown of royalty, now fated for the fire. We loot the throne room's more valuable treasures and make our ascent back up. While avoiding one last obvious trap. After scaling down a rather tedious mountainside, we rejoin the company of Styr to dispose of the Wolf Queen once and for all.
You've returned. I'm hoping successfully.
You're damn right successfully, Maine. Here's the bitch's skull.
Excellent. These things do have a way of working out when people take action. I'll sanctify the remains. In case Falk doesn't make it clear, Solitude owes you a debt of gratitude. May Arche bless you with a long life.
With that business sorted, we return to Firebeard one last time.
May the gods watch over your battles, friend.
It's over. Potema is dealt with.
You've done a great thing today. It doesn't matter who you support in the war. Potema would have been a blight on the land for both sides. Without you, this would have been a disaster. I should have paid more heed to Varnius's warnings. I won't make that mistake again. Take this payment. The Jarl would thank you, but she very much wants to keep Potema's return quiet. Make no mistake, we consider you a protector of Solitude.
Unlike with Windhelm's steward, we receive a tidy sum of gold. And as promised, we are given a shield fitting of a protector of the city, one bearing the Wolf of Solitude.
Unless we have specific business, I'm not interested.